You're listening to Without a Brief, a Red Bow House podcast where we talk branding, business, visibility, identity, and the women behind the work. I'm your host, Jasmine Soteropoulos. Let's get into it. You're listening to Without a Brief, a Red Bow House podcast where we talk branding, business, visibility, identity, and the women behind the work. I'm your host, Jasmine Soteropoulos. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief podcast. Hello and welcome to the Without a Brief. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. This is a Red Bow House podcast. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. This is a Red Bow House podcast. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. This is a Red Bow House podcast and I'm your host, Jasmine Soteropoulos. Pleasure to meet you. And hello and welcome to Without a Brief. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. This is a Red Bow House. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. This is a Red Bow. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. This is a Red Bow House podcast and I am your host, Jasmine Soteropoulos. Let's get started. Hello, this is Without a Brief. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. This is Jasmine. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. I'm Jasmine. Hello and welcome to Without a Brief. I'm Jasmine, your hello and welcome to Without a Brief. I'm Jasmine, your hello and welcome to Without a Brief. I'm your host, Jasmine Soteropoulos. Let's get hello and welcome to Without a Brief. This is hello and welcome to Without a Brief. This is a Red Bow House podcast and I'm your host, Jasmine Soteropoulos. Let's get started. Okay, hello and welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming along. I've been a follower of yours for a while now. Always love your content, and I'd love for you to tell us exactly what you do, who you're for, and give me the spiel.
The spiel? Oh, the spiel. All right, let's whittle it down and make it spielish. My name's MG, pronounced like the car MG, but not written like MG. MG, my name's actually Emily. And although a lot of people think I'm Emma, people go, hey, this must be Emma. No, I'm not Emma. I'm MG. I teach women in business how to use AI in their marketing and their operations. I'm an educator. I don't do for you. I show you how to do it yourself. And what I aim to do with that education is empower women in business in particular to be able to take the reins of that in their business, because that is where the world is going with the way businesses work. And if you don't have a foundational understanding of that long term, unfortunately, we're going to struggle. And women, unfortunately, are the gender that seem to be more hesitant. That has changed a lot in the last year, which I'm very pleased about and very pleased to have been a part of that and making it as simple as possible, but also helping women to realize how much it can change our lives, not just our business, but also our lives, because most of us go into business because we want some kind of freedom. Then we get into business, we're like, where is this freedom? This freedom is not with me. Is it in the room?
The freedom is a lie.
And so creating that and showing women how that is possible with this incredible new technology. And really, that's only been the last 3 years. Before that, my background was in marketing and education. And I have ADHD, so I'm constantly like changing my mind about what I want to do with my life. But the good news about AI is that it's constantly changing. And so while I absolutely hate that at times because it keeps me awake at night thinking about all the things I have to learn, I also froth on it because it means I'm constantly getting to learn and adapt, and that fits my vibe so much. And I think there's lots of women in business that are like that too.
Absolutely. And I think as well, so I kind of started following your journey when you were in the marketing space. Like that was your thing that I knew you for. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, she's like on the AI and she's all about it. And it was so
Jumped on that
good
train.
to see
like how you communicate it as well and make it like simple language. I think everyone is just like, oh, AI, what is that, for the people who are interested. But the problem is that like you said, it's the foundations, and people kind of get sold this promise of like, oh, here's a prompt, you can do this with this prompt and this prompt. And the prompt selling is so like, it doesn't help you. It's like you're always going to have to rely on an outside source in order to understand what the hell you're doing. And that's not helping at all. It's copy paste, and there's so much that goes into it, and you can really, like, I know people, especially people in my industry, are super afraid of what AI is going to do. But it's like, no, no, no. If you don't understand that it's always going to be a human prompted thing, and if you're not like willing to jump on board and learn more, then you're just going to get left behind. Like, that's the reality of it. You know, there's no real choice about it. So you might as well get good at it, or get good at, you know, like putting yourself around it in that universe, so that, yeah, you could be a thought leader, you could be a person of authority when it comes to it, you can show off your expertise, like yeah, I
And even
just
if you
don't
don't want
see
to
any
get
other way.
involved in actual AI is still changing the way every single person works. So just this last
Yes.
week, Harvard released a report saying that the biggest growing role in our society now, the biggest growing job is AI agent managers. And I've been saying this, so I
Yeah.
love that Harvard said this because it's coming out in my content today, because I've literally been saying it in my
Ah,
masterclasses. I'm like, you will all become,
yeah.
everyone is going to become an AI agent manager. It doesn't matter whether you're in marketing, it doesn't matter whether you're in retail, which is kind of like marketing anyway. It doesn't matter whether, even in construction, your team are going to become AI agents, and not all of
Yeah.
them. And we can talk about that scary
Yeah.
fact that, like, oh, well, they're all going to be robots. But ultimately, that's like a new skill that everyone has to learn, whether you have a business or not, whether you have a job,
Yeah.
whatever industry you're in. And I love that, you know, you're in marketing. A lot of marketers are freaking the heck out because the first thing that, you know, people go to use AI for is content, right? They're like, oh, it can write my captions. The reality
Yeah.
is that's just like what people think it does, because the first thing you do is prompt it and it writes something. But you and I both
Yeah.
know that most of the time the output is so crap. And unless you actually know
It's
marketing,
rubbish.
it's
Yeah.
rubbish, or it does the opposite of what you want marketing to do. It pushes people
Yeah.
away because it's AI slop, and that's become such a common term. So, you know, I
Yeah,
love
absolutely.
that you've brought me on to talk about AI as well, because I know there's definitely lots of
Yeah.
marketers that want to avoid the shit out of talking about it, because they're
Yeah,
like,
like,
can I
so
swear on your podcast, by the
I
way?
do branding. Yeah, I fucking swear all the time.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I'm Australian. I mean, yeah, you can absolutely fucking swear. But I'm in branding, right? So I used to do marketing, but I don't really anymore, because like marketing itself is just not where I want it to be. And you know, it comes from a place of privilege when you can go, actually, I don't like this side of my business. I don't have to do it anymore. And I
Absolutely.
have, you know, so
Working your
I
genius though.
purely focused on branding now, and but like every everyone in the industry is running scared, and it's just like a loop-de-loop of fear. And the fear doesn't stop either, because like there's other people posting, oh my god, like one of the biggest I guess sell points for people who don't actually understand AI is, oh, it's going to replace your marketing team. It's like these quick, buzzy little statements that get people excited of, oh, you could save money. And it's not the truth. Like, that's not what it's doing. And I think like there's so much misinformation about it in in good or bad ways. And at its core, it is such a useful tool. And yeah, a lot of people would probably avoid talking to someone like you, because it's like, oh, she's coming after my job. But it's not that. Like, take a chill
Yes.
pill, breathe,
Oh, well, we
everyone breathe.
can blame, you know, well, we can blame marketing in a way for the hype, right? Like, there's so many of these tech bros out there, and not just tech bros, but anyone in this industry that is cashing in on this gold rush right now, right? So they want to make these promises, and that's just always the snake oil way, right? Like overpromise,
Absolutely.
underdeliver. And that's been happening from day one with AI. And yes, replace your marketing team. Like I remember Sintra, which is like it was a platform that was meant to be like ChatGPT. They probably still exist, but when it first came out and no one knew how to use ChatGPT, they were like, go on holiday for 10 weeks and 10x your revenue because Cintra's got your back. And that was their marketing. And I'm like, bullshit. I'm
Right.
sorry. But like then people come to me and
Sure.
they learn the
We'll
reality of
see.
it. And they're like, oh, it's not that simple. And no, it's not that simple because AI has a whole lot of knowledge, but it becomes very generic. And it even, now is moving
Yeah.
into people thinking they can do their branding using AI, right? The visuals and the visuals all look the same. And often people are
Maybe
coming to
one
me.
day we get to that level. I don't see why we wouldn't get to that level, but we're just not there yet. And the rushing into it with like just tunnel vision, that's the problem. And I've from when I was a kid, I've always been like, oh, um, the robot can come and be my maid. That's no problem. I
100%.
will
I'm
have
there
no
for that.
issue with that. And, I understand why people are against that, but I don't care. I love the future. I love where technology is going. I've always been a little techie like that. So, there's no fear here, but also know what its limitations are. That's hugely important. And yeah, learn how to use it. And that's why we have you.
Well, and also it's learning the different pockets of information that you need for the reasons you're using it. So what I mean by that is like you can use AI to help you with a certain topic, whatever it may be in your business. It might be finance, it might be marketing, it might be legal, but it's AI is generative. So what generative means is it's creating a response. And it's not always right. It doesn't always have nuanced information. And so that's why one of the biggest terms in AI is needing a human in the loop. And so the humans in the loop need to be those experts, those individual human experts that are able to have the nuanced opinions, the personal connection that you don't have with AI. And I don't know that we will fully get to that point. I mean, look, anything is possible, but I think, you can get AI to create something, but without the expert that's able to look at that and go, that's going to absolutely fit your goals, because AI will just be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You're so great. And
Yeah.
just tell you what you want to
It's like
hear.
the friend that always wants to sound smart. Like it's always wanting to, like, that's what it's doing at all
Yes.
times. And it's yeah.
It wants to please. It's a people pleaser, like it wants to do the thing for you. One of the first reels that I created around AI, because I'm going through all of my like 2024, like early 2024 reels at the moment talking about AI. And it's quite
Okay.
funny how much stuff has changed. And it's me
Changed.
coming into the room and being like, write me a post about candles. And then AI just straight away going, introducing our transformative soy candles, light up your world, like, and it just instantly does it. Whereas if I came to,
Yeah.
say, an agency and I said, I need help with my content about candles, they're going to come back and say, let's like find out some questions, find out, the brand personality, who your ideal client is, customer, not client when you're selling
Yeah.
candles, but, like finding all of that
Yeah.
information out rather than just instantly going
Yeah.
in for the win. It's like going on a
Yeah.
date and not finding out their first name and going, let's, go off to the bedroom. I know nothing about you. You could murder me and throw me off the balcony.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, how do you know? Yeah, yeah. There's just okay. So let's take a step back for a second, right? I really want to know, at what point did you go, okay, the pivot is clearly happening for you personally. And how was that pivot? Like, where did you find it and how did you go about it?
So right before ChatGPT came out, there was this platform called Jasper AI. And I believe it probably still exists. ChatGPT then totally destroyed it. But I was already
Yeah.
running my marketing coaching business, and I had a mastermind that I was running that had it was a six-figure mastermind. It was brilliant, but there was something in me that felt like my clients in there were still spinning their wheels, and I wanted to do better for them, but I just was struggling to figure out how to help them more. And that same thing, like small business, solopreneurs, a lot of them doing all of the things themselves. And then when Jasper came out, I was like, this is cool. Like, I don't really understand what it is, but it's helping with marketing. That was what it was designed for, was helping with social media. And
Okay.
it was AI, it was generative AI. And then, so I was playing with it and I was starting to show the people in that mastermind, like, let's test this out. Let's see if it helps you with, just repurposing more content ultimately to have that omnipresence. And then ChatGPT landed and I was like, this is pretty wild. I definitely had a bit of an existential crisis because I was like, fuck, what does this mean for the world? Like, I went down quite a few rabbit holes. I was like, do I need to go get a data science degree? I literally was looking up data science degrees to see, like,
Right.
I need to
Wow.
understand this.
Yeah.
And and then I thought, eventually, I'm very glad I decided not to do that data science degree because I'd only just be finishing now. You don't need
Yeah.
one. And I self-taught myself everything, but I had to, at that point in time, shut down that mastermind because I needed time to learn and understand and pivot. And
Absorb.
I
Yeah.
did move those people across to a lower cost, less kind of stress thing for me so that I could spend that time learning. But it was a massive, like I cut out six figures of annual revenue from my business by doing that. And so it was
Right.
scary. I had to talk to my husband and say, like, can we afford for me to not pay me for 3 months so that I can just, like, really focus on this? It paid off, obviously, it's very much paid off, but it still took a
Yeah.
while, because I then had to learn and I still had to overcome, and everyone listening to this will have overcome, like, those feelings of, like, am I good enough to be that person? Like, do I know enough? And there's people in the industry who, have shunned me because I don't have a data science degree, because I don't have X amount of years of experience in this stuff. And I mean, that happens in every industry, right? There's people that have the ego. Um, but
Absolutely.
you can help anyone that you're two steps ahead of. And I now will happily train people to understand this, knowing that they are then going to take it to their industry and their people, because
Yeah.
we all bloody need it. Like, I can't teach every single person. So I'm like, I want as many people as possible to have this skill, not even just female founders. Schools need it. Like, everyone needs it. And so the
Yeah.
ripple effect is huge. And the pivot, while it was very scary, obviously very much paid off. And yeah, it still is quite the roller coaster though, because it's constantly changing.
It's constantly evolving. It never stops, and there's no real like end point to it. So at what point, like, yeah, you can just keep growing with it. And I think, like, you said a specific thing. You said you can always help someone you're two steps ahead of. I
Yeah,
love that. Like, that's
yeah.
so accurate. And I've never really thought about it like that, to be honest. And I think I tend to assume that, like, my knowledge is just like not good enough to like share, because it's like, oh, that person can learn that very quickly, but it's like it might be quick for me, but like it's not quick for everyone, and I forget that. And I think that's like when you become an expert in something, you sometimes need that reality check of, oh, actually, there's a lot of people that don't know what the hell you're doing or how you're doing it, and they're like fascinated with that. And so your approach is that, just like, do you sell, like, what's your biggest thing? Like, do you like to sell a course? Like, do you sell a program where you're like nurturing throughout, or like what's your thing? How are you delivering?
The way I educate, three ways. First way is I do run quite a lot of free masterclasses. That's because I want, like, one of my biggest missions is impact, get it out to as many people as possible. And I give way too much away in those free masterclasses. However, it does convert. I do talk about then, the programs that I run in those masterclasses. But I also am very much of the opinion that I want people to walk away with something tangible from those, because there's so much, you can't say fluff anymore because of AI, but there's so much of that high level kind of masterclass stuff that is hype without any real substance. And I don't like doing that. But
Yeah.
that then leads people into my course, which is my signature course, AI Marketing Machine, which I trademarked AI Marketing Machine. And now I'm like, it's so much more than marketing, because really it's about it's everything. It's how you think AI
Yeah.
first in business, really, is what it is. And that is,
Mm.
it's an intensive 30 days, but it means that by the end of those 30 days, we've not just implemented AI into your business, but you've got the skills of how to continuously implement it, how to work with AI, how to troubleshoot
Yeah.
AI, because that's actually the most important thing. Not here's a plug and play content strategy that you can shove into your business and get an output.
Yeah.
And then once AI evolves, you have no idea what to do with it. That's not what we want. We want there to be that foundational knowledge. And then ongoing, I have a
Yeah.
membership. And so that means that people can do the course, they insert AI into their marketing and operations, and then they have ongoing support in that membership. And so, like, the best thing about the membership now is that you don't have to have done my course, but 50% of the members have. And now they help each other. So there was a post that went up on Friday. I had taken 3 days off. So I came back Monday, and like, that post was about working with, like, creating carousels and all sorts of different like
Okay.
image techniques. And the things that came out of that, half of it I didn't even know. I was like, oh, I haven't tried that. And
Right.
because they're all experimenting and then coming in and sharing, they're learning from each other as well as me. And so that's like the beauty of community, right? And
See,
having
that's always interesting because, like, okay, so I personally, I'm not a course buyer, or like I don't know why. I just don't do it. Whereas, like people around me are like, they swear by courses and they buy every course. And, like I feel like there's people who do and people who don't. But what I've found that I've lacked over the years is, because I don't do that, I
mm,
end up missing out on the community that it creates. And so I'm like here, all on my lonesome, not knowing anyone. And I just became part of a group. And I'm like, oh, is this what it's like? That's like so cool. But it's like, okay, it's really cool to see that you say, you don't have to do my course to be part of the community. And it's like, it's helpful because the community is so important. And like you're saying, like you learn so much from everyone else. Like people pick up on things and like evolve things, and it's really nice. It's really
well, to
cool.
be honest, you could completely bypass the course that I have. And like, I know that that's shooting myself in the foot revenue wise, but you could, if
No,
you were
I'm sure there is
self-learning.
plenty of people
Oh,
that want your what you're
yeah,
offering. So I
there
don't
is.
think
Like, we
I
do
think you're
sell out
right.
each round. But the
So good.
community has so much value, like, and I think you can learn if you're able to self-learn, there's so much you can get from that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
courses are going to change a lot because of AI, because you can learn so much without having to pay for a course, right? And it's true, even with AI,
Right.
you can
Yeah.
go in and you can ask AI to help you learn AI, and that is definitely, it's a pathway that people are taking now. I guess with AI Marketing Machine, which is the name of my course. I don't even know if I mentioned that before. Yeah, I did, because I talked about
Yes, yes, yes,
trademark.
yes. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
you
How
trademark,
did I
yes.
trademark the word marketing in there?
We're here. It's
Um,
fine. It's good.
with that course, it's updated. So I run it every quarter, and I every single quarter have to update what's inside it, because it's completely different every time. There's probably some things that are similar, but like if I look at the round we're doing in a couple of weeks, it looks absolutely nothing like what we were doing a year ago in that program. Like, it's completely different, because the way that AI has changed, it wouldn't be right for me to give people the same setup as what it is now.
Yeah.
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 And so it's
And
constantly
okay,
evolving.
with ChatGPT versus Claude, right? Like
Yeah,
that's, I think, like such a big topic.
it is.
I have not been converted yet. I am not a
You haven't.
Claudie at all. No, I'm still on my chat. I'm like, how dare I? He's done so much for me.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah, so like,
interesting the
what's your
humanization of
opinion?
it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I got him to once give himself, like I said to him, okay, I love how I said him. Like, yes, I talk it to it like it's a human. But I said to him, okay, if you were to have a human body tomorrow, can you show me what it would look like, as far as like what you would want it to look like, and
Interesting.
tell me what you would call yourself or want to be called? And like, yeah, he's a very handsome man, like very philosophical looking, but it's just like, yeah, it's fun to do that stuff as well as like the serious stuff,
Hmm.
because you're talking to a robot that, like, as a kid, I used to watch robot movies and I'm like, oh my God, how cool. One day we could talk to like this whatever being. Like, I've always wanted to do that. There is a child in me that still wants that experience. So it's been fun to play with it like that as well. But okay, on serious business, Claude versus ChatGPT. Talk to me. Convert
Yeah.
me.
Look, one of the things that I think is really important that we forget in business is to try not to get caught up in the hype of tools, because the tools are part of the process, but they're actually not the foundational part of how we should be using AI. So if I was only using one tool right now, it would be Claude. However, you can almost do just as much with ChatGPT plus Codex. So Codex is part of OpenAI's umbrella of software that you can use, and Codex is not that hard to use. It's not as easy as Claude to get the same result. And what I mean by getting the same result is ultimately getting AI to start working less as a chatbot and more as an agent. So the way most of us have used ChatGPT is, typing in, writing a prompt, getting an output, or maybe creating a custom GPT, creating projects so that it's got some knowledge, it's got some context so that you don't have to prompt it as much. But you're still going in and you're still putting something in that text box, hitting enter, getting a response. So it's reactive AI rather than proactive AI. And proactive AI is where it can start doing work for you as an agent. And the word agent gets thrown around all the time. It's
Yeah.
basically just saying well, an agent before AI was just, someone who could act on your behalf, right? And so
Yeah.
that's ultimately what an
It's
agent is.
transferable.
And
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, and it can do the things that you would usually be doing on your computer if you give it good enough instructions, because that's the next part is there has
Yeah.
to be really good instructions for it to do it right and do it safely and do it in a way that either is as good as what you would do or better, because if it's not as good as what you would do or better, don't do it. Both can do
Yeah.
those things. The way I'm teaching people to set up their AI now is actually not on ChatGPT or Claude at all. It's on a
Okay.
platform called GitHub. So, have you heard of GitHub?
Okay. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
But
So,
explain it to whoever hasn't.
a lot of business owners have not heard of GitHub. And if you have, you probably would think it's for coders because, to be honest, it has in the past always been for coders. And what it is ultimately is a filing system that can connect into other applications like ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, whatever, Perplexity, Manus, whatever AI tool you're using, and other softwares as well. And so what we do is instead of putting in all of the information about your business into a prompt or a project file or some kind of knowledge base on ChatGPT or Claude, we put it into GitHub. And then GitHub can connect into anything. And that way, for example, right now, like we're using Claude in my business and I use the $100 a month version of it. If I want to upgrade to get my team access, I then have to pay $500 a month for them all to have access because they all have to be on the same level as me, even if they don't need it. So instead,
Yeah.
They now all have access to the GitHub repository, which sounds, it's just the filing system.
Yeah.
And then in their Claude account, their, $30 a month Claude account rather than a $100 a month Claude account, they just connect that GitHub filing system and it has all the information about my business and it can act as
That's
my
so
business
clever. It's like a
inside their Claude
workaround that
account.
like,
But it
yeah,
also
it's
means
like a
that next
workaround that
year,
you wouldn't even think that.
if everyone swings back to another tool or a whole nother tool comes out, you don't then have to, like right now, you're going, oh God, if I want to move to Claude, like I've got to get all my stuff across to Claude.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And then we get whiplash because we're constantly changing. We waste time because we're constantly changing. And that's the opposite of what AI is supposed to be doing for us. It's not supposed to be wasting our time. It's supposed to be saving our time. So setting it up, it's like an AI brain ultimately. And you'll see this in marketing, that this is what everyone is talking about now, is setting up your AI brain somewhere. And GitHub is free.
Yeah.
There's a lot of functionality, but you literally need maybe 2% of the entire functionality of GitHub to set it up
Right.
in a way that would work for a small business. And it's literally just a filing system. And the other good thing about this filing system is it's not just on a cloud, it's also on your local server. So if for whatever
Okay.
reason, somehow, internet drops out or your cloud is no longer working for whatever reason, there's more tech issues when stuff's uploaded, it's always saved on your local device as well, so there's like that constant backup.
Okay. Yeah.
Whereas
See, these are
Claude,
the
like if
things
Claude
that like
goes
there's
down, you
no
can't get
way.
to it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no way of knowing this stuff without like talking to someone like you, right? Like at the end of the day, that information is so important. And I feel like there's there's the surface level misinformation, and then there's like so many layers to this that you just there's too much to keep up with when you're trying to run a full-time business. That's the thing, right? Like, sure, if I had absolutely nothing fucking to do ever, then yes, I would be a master AI. But like, who the fuck am I? It's like when people try to like DIY every single thing in their business and like try to wear every single hat. Like, what do you do? Like, to what end? You're never going to be able to do just one thing 100%. So,
Yeah,
like,
you
who are you
become the
kidding?
bottleneck.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
does, I guess it leads into the question of how you avoid that overwhelm and how you decide what you should actually be doing, because that's what's happening right now. I've got a word for this. It's called exhausted-whelmulated. Exhausted, overwhelmed, and
Exhaustive.
overstimulated. I feel like
I love
everyone's
this.
in that boat with AI. Like
Mm,
even I am. And people think I'm ahead of the game, and I mean I am compared to 99% of people, but
yeah.
I'm still feeling that. And so the number one suggestion I would make for anyone, and for everyone listening will be like, oh yeah, I don't even know where to start, is find your bottlenecks, find what is slowing you down, draining your time and energy, and look at how you use AI for that. Instead of, because what most people do is they look for a tool and then they find like an Instagram reel. It's like, oh, there's a cool thing I can do with this tool. But is that the thing that is even solving your bottleneck? Probably
Yeah,
not,
yes. Yeah, it's just the next thing. And then you're adding all these things you never even needed to do in the first place. Like,
which
what are
just
we
wastes
doing
more
here,
time.
people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a
No, it's
bottleneck
really
audit, like
exhausting. And I
you go.
yeah. No, go for it, go for it.
I was just saying a bottleneck audit is like the first thing that I do
A
with everyone
bottleneck
is,
audit. I like
yeah,
that
well,
word.
it's working
Yeah.
out like where is your time and energy going? Not all time's equal either. Like obviously recording a podcast, it takes a certain amount of energy versus, maybe writing a caption for social media maybe doesn't take as much of your energy. And so it's not necessarily just how
Hmm.
much time something takes. It's is something that you do draining the crap out of you, and is there a way that could be automated or AI could help with that process?
Yeah, I think as well, what I find really annoying personally is like, because again, it's that misconception that, oh, well, that's an easy way of doing it, right? But it's not as effective is when we've got all these programs, like heaps of different programs that we run, like whether, I don't know, it's metrical or whatever it is that we use for our business to make it work. And then they all have their like inbuilt AI thing, right? And then like people use just like that automation inside that, but it doesn't know your business. Like you're just doing the bare minimum and it's not as effective. And like you're constantly being sold that that's like, oh, your solution. Everything has AI. But not every freaking program software, everything needs AI. Like just have your AI in one box and have that as your go-to to get captions, get whatever, and then use the program as it was solely meant to be used in the first place. And it's, I think, yeah, that's another exhausting thing because it's always with the prompts of like, oh, do you want to use like even Zoom, even everything has AI. It's just
It does
driving me
now, yeah. Well,
insane.
they're all trying to cash in on it, right? Like they're trying to make their software more useful. And do you know the reason for that is going to be that long term, a lot of these softwares won't even exist because we can now vibe code our own softwares to give us exactly what it is that we want. Like
Yeah,
I was working with a client yesterday
yeah,
who has used an educational platform to put out a course to the mining industry, and the data that she can get back from it is so clunky that it's not allowing her to do the reporting that she needs to do. And I'm like,
right.
okay, this could obviously they may improve this over time, but we need this fixed now. So what are we doing? We're vibe coding a result for her because we're like, we know exactly what we need. We need all of their inputs put into a certain format so that we can plug it into an AI framework that will create the report. But the software is not doing that right now. And so we're like, well, instead of us waiting for them to do what we want them to do with it, we're just going to create our own. And that's what is starting to happen. And people listening to this might be like, what the hell do you mean? Because vibe coding might even sound like a very obscure thing. But
Yeah,
basically,
yeah,
it's
that's true.
taking
Yeah,
developers in the way that people used to work as a coder, and being able to get AI to generate code just by telling it what you want it to create so you can have a conversation with it.
yes,
So we've replaced multiple softwares in my business from just getting Claude, and you can do it in ChatGPT as well, to write the code for a software. I am not a coder at all. I know nothing about code. And then the AI gives you instructions about how to install that code, where to install it, how to deploy it, how to use it, create an SOP for you and your team of how to use that software in your business. And on repeat. So I think a lot of these platforms are now going, oh, I realize that the value of like all the SaaS products, they're like, shit, my value is about to drop because people can start replacing
yeah.
the parts of me that
Yeah,
will
and you can
actually fit their business
customize it
better.
like in ways that like is beyond, I think the customization aspect, like if just okay, so my biggest thing was my budget spreadsheet, right? Like I love budgeting and like seeing everything. And so I vibe coded. I mean, I vibe coded a fair few things that have like launched, but like for me personally, I vibe coded the a budget. Like, and I would enter in just like the bare minimum and it would do everything for it's one thing to vibe code for you internally versus something that you're going to launch. And I think that's a huge separation that again, like people are so quick to go, oh, it's created, yep, I'm going to send it out to absolutely everyone. But I think there's a point of difference in that, and I think people get too excited. It's like all the AI flyers that are flying around. It's like, no, that you can use that as internal inspiration all you want, but the moment you've just launched it, it's just cheapened your brand. It's made people lose trust in you, and you're not going to get that trust back. Like once that's, or you're going to have to work double time to get that trust back.
And that is what's happening with AI slop, like, and whether that's something that's vibe coded or content that's written that's, you know, got really obvious AI tells and or imagery. Like the imagery stuff really does do my head in because I just think it looks
Yeah.
terrible. The worst thing is when you
Yeah.
see like some kind of
Mm.
physical transformation testimonial that is an AI,
Oh,
like as if I'm gonna
insane.
trust a brand that's giving me an
Insane.
AI avatar saying, "Look how much more youthful I look after this cream." I'm like, "You're not real. Why?"
Yeah.
You will have been
Yeah,
seeing
I
that too,
think
right?
if you're doing it to sell when you're doing it to sell a product, it's actually insane. Like people like different story if it's like a mock-up or like for me for my business, right? I use AI to like once I've got all my logos and all my package designs, I'll put it into AI to see how it's going to look on a product, and that's how I show my clients because there's never a mock-up that's like get it from my head unless I properly explain it to it, to the generator. And that's the other thing is like the language you use. So like I'm an ex-photographer, so I know the language to use to actually make
Mm,
something look really well put together, like as if it's in a studio or wherever placement that I'm putting it. And I think that like that language is super important too. And even like you can prompt it to death, but if you're not an expert in that avenue yourself, then like who's checking it for you? Who's going to make that determination? And I think that's super important. Like my reel covers on Instagram, like all those photo shoots that I've done, like it's all AI, but like it looks real enough that like because I know what I'm doing and how to prompt it, because like who's got time to be in the studio full time taking photos of themselves? Like what are you doing?
yeah.
I mean, sure, some people do, and that's great and freaking amazing, but I do not have the energy, the time, the patience for any of that. And yeah, it all comes down to can you do it well? If you don't, go get educated about it. And then, sorry if you can hear my cat, she's
I
on
can hear
heat
your
and
cat
she's a
sounds
rescue,
so
so
cute.
she's not been the poor thing. She's like, please fuck me. But yeah, so I think like it just comes down to education. Everything does though. And that's yeah, I think that's the differentiator is that people need to remember at the end of the day, nothing is going to turn out great if you don't have the education around it. And that applies to most things.
Yes. Oh, it does,
Yeah.
absolutely. But if we're relying on AI to educate us on everything, then we're kind of relying on the source that's eating itself. Because what's happening right now is there's so much AI generated information out there that it's now using its own generated information to create more information. And so
Yes.
we need to, this is the
Yes.
next main, I mean, it should always have been something taught in schools and something that we all strive for is critical thinking and actually looking at something and going, does that seem right? Or, with marketing, reading something and going, does that sound like something I would say? Like read it out loud. Now I've got a plane going overhead.
Yeah.
So we've got cats, we've got planes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We're keeping
and
busy.
yeah, yeah. And it's like 11 or almost midnight where you are, isn't it? Just as a side note.
Yeah. Yeah, 11:51
Because
PM.
I was like,
But like I
Spain
usually
time.
start
I'm
my
going, "What the heck?" Sorry, just
Yeah,
going off
no,
on an
I work
ADHD
like
segue
all
here.
night. Like a yeah, hey, I'm neurodivergent too. I'm on the spectrum, so hey, we're very used to it.
Yeah, so you work I'm just, like, wanting to go there for a moment. You work overnight is that because of Australian time zone as well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
what's funny is in Australia, I used to
Mm.
stay up all night working because at nighttime was my favorite. But it didn't make sense for me to, so I'd have to get up super early to get into meetings and stuff during the day, which I hated. But now it works perfectly because all my clients, well, the majority of my clients are in Australia, and I'm just like, oh, perfect. This is when I work anyway.
That is amazing, and I get to live in Spain. Oh, that's so cool. Anyway, that was a total
Exactly. Yeah,
segue
just a bonus.
off
Yeah,
off the
totally
side of
fine.
that.
Yes.
Yes. Where were we?
No,
What were
it's
we talking
great.
about before the plane went overhead?
Um, yeah, yeah, we were saying something I'm sure critically important. Oh, critical thinking, critically important. It just
There
clicked.
you go.
Yes, that's
Critical
perfect.
thinking.
There we
Yes,
go. We're
which I
back.
think I was a primary school educator, and for 7 years, and, like, one of the things that I see as a real issue in the future for children going through our current education system is that they maybe don't have those same skills that they're going to need when it comes to critical thinking with the technology that will exist in the future. And
Yeah.
so it's not my mission at the moment, but I feel like I I have daughters. I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I'm a bit like, oh, I feel like this is going to become part of my mission in the near future because, and if you're listening and you've got kids,
You'll
this
see
is
them
AI
grow through
literacy.
it. So it's
Mm. Yeah, well, and my kids, like, they look at stuff and they'll go, "That's AI." So they've grown up with it. They're actually going to adapt to it much better than what we will. I mean, I feel like
their
I have, but
discernment
most
will be a
people.
lot better.
I hope so. I
Yes.
hope so. And I think, yeah, being able to have that basic foundational AI literacy, which is not going to get taught in schools in the next 5 to 10 years because they're way too slow moving. So those skills
Absolutely.
are they're going to be missing for a chunk of kids, and that's going to have an impact long term on the economy, on the workforce, amongst other things that are going to change in the economy and workforce because of AI. So yeah, so definitely a rabbit hole that I could go down, which maybe we won't today, but.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. So how did you in general get your start? Like, were you always like, what did you do before you went on your own?
Before I went into business. Is
Yeah.
that Yeah. So before I went into business was when I was a teacher, and I my first degree was marketing, and I worked in marketing for a couple of years, but corporate life just was not going to work for me. And then, yeah, I did a graduate diploma in education and became a primary school teacher for 7 years. When I got maternity leave for my first daughter was when I started my first business. And that was actually
Okay.
a personal training business. I opened a small gym, and yeah, it was a time in my life where I was like, well, I can kind of work hours that means we didn't need childcare because I would be working in the morning and the evening. My husband would be working in the middle of the day, but then we never saw each other. And then when I looked at my bank at the end of like my
Right.
first year of business, I was like, man, I'm paying myself less than minimum wage really for what I'm doing. It was not scalable, but it fit for that point in time. And because I had my marketing background, I was, and even education, like, in a small fitness environment, being able to communicate effectively how to do things was really helpful as well. But the marketing, like I was able to grow that business to what other people thought was quite successful quite quickly. But yeah, again,
Right.
like if I looked at
Hmm.
the hours I was putting in, I was like, if this is not it's not really
Right.
paying off, and I'm not even getting to spend time, with my husband because we're just working. We're like ships in the night. So that very quickly shifted into me going, okay, well, how can I use what I know about marketing and have, then done with my own small business to help other businesses. So that was where, yeah, it shifted into marketing and then AI inevitably. And I think
So
now
you went.
everyone's shifted into AI.
So you've gone marketing corporate to um to teaching, then back to marketing, but more for small businesses, then
Yes.
into AI.
Yeah.
And I guess like, this podcast is I feel like it's super important that kind of people hear the journey, because I think people before jumping into business really have an idea of, oh, I'm going to jump into it and other people are successful, so we're going to jump in and that's it. This is what I'm doing forever. And that's why I asked you before about the pivot. I think the pivot is so important and it's okay to pivot. And yeah, can you talk more on that? Like, where do you stand with the pivot?
Well, I think the pivot is something that I'm very good at, but I've also judged in myself because I thought I really should just stick to that one thing, right? I really should just stay the path. But if I've forced staying the path, I've become exceptionally unhappy. And I've learned in the last, I guess I've been in business for 10 years, that when you start to notice that nervous system dysregulation, that's when something's not right. Right. And And business is such a big part of my life that often it's related to business. Not always, sometimes it is related to health or relationships or just other life circumstances. But I've only been able to grow and change and adapt as much in business as much as I have grown and changed and adapt in like personally and internally. So to be honest, the pivot comes back to understanding your own intuition and alignment. And it's quite confronting because you can't, well, you can avoid it. You can avoid it. But if you do avoid it, it ends up smacking you in the face like a pickup truck. Like it's like nudge,
Yeah,
nudge,
it
and then a
only
little punch.
drags out yeah, it drags out the pain, I feel like. If it's not I'm the first person to say, okay, if you get an idea that you think is somewhat viable, I'm not saying every single idea, especially, being neurodivergent, like you don't want to commit to everything. But if you've got something that has been playing on your mind for a little while and you've had maybe a few signs here and there, try it out. Like we're not
Mhm.
saying go and quit your day job and put everything into that, even though that's ideal and that's amazing. If you can do that, great.
If you're
But
in a position to
I
do it,
just
yeah.
think I exactly. But I think it's super important to make it clear to anyone that's listening to think, okay, I'm at a point in my life that I want to try something new. And a lot of people carry shame around that as well. It's like, oh, if I try something new, does that mean I failed in the something old? And it's like,
Mhm.
it's not that at all. Like the most successful people I've spoken to have time and time again confirmed to me the truth that is, they started something that didn't work. They built on it. They started something else. It's like there's so many forks in the road and there's so many opportunities and abundance is real. But if you're trying to what's there's a quote. No,
Like
something about a horse,
putting a square
beat a dead
square
horse,
peg into a
something.
round hole.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, well, sometimes that doesn't work. And it's so important to be like, okay, yep, use your judgment, take a step back, try something else and move on because sometimes success can just be like that. And you don't even realize it happened until you're like a year into it. Because we also don't stop to smell the roses either. Like that's something I struggle with because it's like, oh, those small wins. Oh, celebrate your small wins. Everyone's like, celebrate your small wins. Shut the fuck up. I'm busy. I don't know what time
Yeah,
I
I'm
have to
going to the next
celebrate
one
anything.
already. There's so much gold in what you just said, and that is what like it's the mindset of an entrepreneur or a business owner or someone that just wants to live their life differently. And I think the number one thing that has got me through is knowing that any pain that I feel always leads to some kind of breakthrough. And that it goes in everything in my life. Like
Yeah.
I literally just got a Shakti mat yesterday. And do you know what a Shakti mat is?
What is it? No.
It's like it's not in my room. Like I've got it here somewhere. It's like a mat that has
Wait, is it the thing
little
with the circles
acupressure.
with the sharp points?
Yeah, the sharp
Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah,
all
yeah,
over
yeah.
it.
I just remembered. I did. Yeah. I had to buy one
It's
for
an
my husband. Yeah.
acupressure. It's acupressure, and you lie down and it hurts when you first lie down on it, but then it helps your nervous system to relax. So it's like you have this pain, then you're able to surrender to it and take what you need from it, and then you move on. And when you move on, you're stronger
Yeah.
and you're more regulated. And so it's the same in business. It's, you know, actually fail as much as you can, really. Like, I think there is a quote, maybe it's Tony Robbins, the people who fail the most are the people that are most successful because you fail, you move on. You fail,
Yeah.
you move on. And every failure, you learn something new. And when you learn something new, you'll do something different next time. And then at some point, the success you get will be from all the lessons from those failures. And that is 100% what has happened for me. Like people see on social media all of the things that went well, right? That's what they see. They don't see, you know,
Yes.
all
Yes.
of the other parts of it that have been so crap where I'm like, I don't want to show up. I'm crying. I can't get out of bed. I've done a launch and no one bought anything. Like, I've had multiple launches where I've had zero sales. And but people don't see that,
Yeah.
right? Like they just see
Yeah.
when I'm like sold out, woo! But
Yeah.
that's not the full
Absolutely.
reality.
No, so true. Yeah. And I think
Mm.
like, yeah, of course. I mean, we can get into a whole different conversation talking about how like the facade of what we're giving off, because especially if you're running your brand like kind of like a personal brand, right? Which you are, it's I'm not sitting like I am sitting here putting my best foot forward and my best face on every single time. I'm not saying I'm not telling you the truth or I'm holding back from. No, I'll tell you. If you ask, if you have questions, I will tell you I have failed. I have done this, I have done that. But at the forefront, what you're getting face value is absolutely the best of me. And that's, of course, that's what I'm going to show you. And I think as well, like, even talking about like going back to kind of that whole AI thing, people are seeking more of a human experience. And that's why now more and more content where you're showing up for your business. Like that's why I pivoted from Reworded to Red Bow House. Like, they both still fully function and operate, but there is more of a need for personal branding and founder led branding because people want that human touch.
Yes.
And it all comes down to that is that like, yeah, showing your vulnerabilities or showing the mistakes and showing, or like, the whole building in public, all of that is, I mean, I don't know how long that's going to last as a trend, because it is a trend. Like, I don't, people do at the end of the day trust a business that is more polished than a business that isn't. So we're not saying to unpolish yourself. We're just saying create calculated content that comes across as in the moment.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
all still
absolutely.
very curated, and I think that's what people don't realize. Like, it is still very curated. Like, it's all on purpose. Like, no one's
I like to
sitting
think
there
of it as
like, yeah.
intentional,
And I think
right? Like
people didn't miss the point.
it's
Intentional.
your instead of in the moment of crises jumping on and being, which is for
Yeah.
most personal brands not ideal. Airing your dirty laundry is not what you want to do for your personal brand. But intentionally coming back to a moment that has a valuable lesson for your audience, that inspires them, that helps them
Yes.
to connect to you, that's very different. And it's again something that AI can't really do. I do get all of my students to run through like a brand story process where they inject as much of their story, like even the transcript from this podcast, for example, like you can take that and be like, make sure your AI knows this so that it can weave in bits of this into, whatever it does for you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in this era of building a personal brand, which I think is going to last a while because of how AI is going to demand more need for that human connection, that we are showing up as authentically as possible, but intentionally. And yeah, so it's curated,
Exactly. I,
but
I
I
really
think
like that change of the word, because yeah, it's curated, but it's like it's still very much the truth and vulnerable. I'm not saying people are lying to you. I'm saying like there was a plan to get like you can't possibly think the camera was just running and they just started talking to you. Like that's just not how it works. And I
yeah,
think like, yeah, there's a lot of that kind of, yeah, there's a lot of that mentality of like, oh, that seems more real. But a lot of it's also subconscious. I think that's what it comes down to, is that a lot of these things that we're talking about, people don't value the lessons from it because it is subconscious, because they didn't even realize that this is how they perceived something because of XYZ. Um, so yeah, that it has a lot to do with that, I think, as well.
and it happens in real life too. Like we're constantly curating the way we want people to perceive us. Like you go see your grandma, you're curating a different version of yourself to when you're hanging out with your girlfriends. Like, it's part
Absolutely.
of how we interact as humans. And I think just when obviously you're building a
Yeah.
business and you're building a personal brand, there is a whole extra layer of intentionality with that, because it's your work, it's your livelihood, it's your mission, it's your legacy, and so it is important to consider those things. And it's also why we need to be so mindful of not using AI slop, because intentionally we need to
Yeah.
I never teach people. I mean, they could work it out themselves. I never teach people how to automatically get AI to create and post things, because there needs to be a human.
Yeah.
There needs to be someone that looks over it. And I've said it already on this podcast, read it out loud. And if you read that, if you look at it and read it out loud and it gives you the ick in any way, then it's not your personal brand. You need to inject something else of you
You know
into
what I
that.
hate more than anything? Something I hate more than anything is when people say, oh, like you can always tell AI when someone says honestly, or, I'm like, I talk like this.
Yeah, but that's how some of it's true. Yeah, there's some words that I go to say now and I'm
It's
like,
like,
"Oh,
it's
can't say that. Can't say
yeah,
game
I
changer."
can't say that anymore. It's destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like,
Yes.
honestly, yeah, I say that literally every time. It's my go-to like phrase to start off a sentence, and now I can't say it because I'll be in trouble. So yeah, yeah. But I
I
mean,
think
in
it's
saying all
swings and
that,
roundabouts.
there's a
It uses
huge like,
it uses different language,
yeah,
like, in periods of time, and then you'll be able to say honestly in a couple of months.
yeah, yeah. Good to hear. No, honestly, thank you so much, because I feel like everything you've said has just like been, a zinger after another, and just being able to just talk about this stuff with someone that isn't just like, oh, I'm anti-AI and AI is bad. Because I feel like a lot of people are just like so willing to throw in the towel and just go, no, it's bad. XYZ, not doing it. And there's obviously like the environmental impacts, and I get that, but it's like no one's going to stop it from happening. Like it's not going to happen. It is what it is. But yeah, no, thank you so much. And I feel like I appreciate every single word you've said, and there's so much to learn. And for whoever's listening, honestly, if you don't know this woman, please go and check her out, because she's taught me a lot, even though I've kind of been sitting in a corner like, oh, she's too popular for me. She'll probably never talk to me. She said yes to my podcast. And
It's
I
so funny,
will,
that
am
mindset
I
thing,
allowed to
right?
say this? Because I,
Yeah. Mhm.
100%. And I'm like, I'm never good enough for anyone. Everyone hates me.
And
But
it's
no,
also a
I
neurodivergent thing
I'm
though,
going to,
right? The rejection
yeah, it
sensitivity
absolutely is.
dysphoria. I get it too, like 100% all the time.
And especially if I've like learnt something from someone, like they put a post or something or a video that I'm like, oh my God, they're so knowledgeable, and I'm this little pipsqueak that means nothing, But okay, hold on. Before we end this, I want to mention something that like I fell in love with when I first followed you, but I can always cut it out if you don't want me posting
No,
this
go for it.
publicly. But yeah, but you sent me a video, and it was just like you walking in saying, oh, thanks for the follow and blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, like I love this. And you straight up said, you're like, oh, just letting you know that's automated. And like you were so, honest about it, first of all, which I really appreciate. But second of all, it's like this whole many chats situation that everyone's on this many chats train, but it's all copy and paste with like, I don't know, the same words to everyone, and it gets really tiresome. But that kind of broke that mold, and it's like, a video, on the go video. And I just think that was just the most genius thing ever. And I want you to know how smart I think that was. I love it. And I told you at the time, I'm like, I'm going to steal this. I never ended up stealing that, but I did end up doing voice notes, which kind of broke again the paradigm versus like the general public of everyone kind of again falling into the habit of let's do the easiest way out. So am I allowed to mention that? Should I delete
Absolutely.
this?
And one of the things you said just then, about obviously I came back and I said to you, just so you know, this is something that it's part of my process for anyone who my VA deems as a vibe. So basically you're a vibe. We don't send it to everyone. There is a human in the loop
Okay.
in that process, because I don't need to send it
Okay.
to like,
All right.
some random in Nigeria that
Yeah.
is not, is going to try to
Fair
scam
enough.
me.
Fair
So
enough.
not that
Yeah.
everyone in Nigeria is
Not
going to
your
try to scam me, but like, we're
target
making big
demographic.
sweeping
No.
generalization. But
We get it.
transparency is really important to me. It's one of my highest values. And I think now in the age of AI, it's even more important because that I'm teaching
Yeah.
people about how to use AI, but at the same time, we need to maintain our human values, and transparency is becoming more and more important to people because they're like, is this a human? Is this AI? And I love it when
Yeah.
people like get that video and they're like, oh, I love this. There are some people that freak out by it, but I'm also like, do you know what? They're not my people, and that's okay. And so it cuts it like,
That's
cuts people out
so
from the beginning.
true. That's so true.
And it might be
Yeah.
the same with your
Yeah.
voice notes,
Knowing
right?
who
Like
your
people,
audience is.
yeah.
Absolutely. Some people are like, oh, that's so nice to receive this. And other people are like, ghost. Then I could see that it's seen because you followed me. So we're automatic. And it's like, okay, that's fine. I tried. That's totally okay.
Yeah, and you never know what's going on in someone's world in that moment, in that day. But it's so cool because I don't even remember how long ago it was that you would have been sent that. But I love that is, it's that
It
first
was ages ago.
impression.
Yeah.
And you obviously followed me. Maybe the following me was the first impression, really. You see the page, you follow, but
Yes.
then that first
Yes.
personal connection is so important, and it's why I haven't actually set up ManyChat to do the automatic message, because I think it does the complete opposite of what we want to do in business, and that is
Absolutely.
connect human to human. Even if it takes, a minute longer, if it gets a better result, and, we're talking about this however long after, it has had such an impact because it was intentional to have that impact. And so I'm glad you brought it up. And
Exactly.
anyone that follows me after watching this podcast, is likely to get a message like that. So as long as you don't have a private account, because
Yeah.
then I can't message you, but,
Yeah.
or if
Yes.
you're a scammer, then maybe not. But if you're a vibe, you'll get
No,
the
no, no,
video
but
message.
yeah, you better be a vibe if you're going to follow her,
It's not up to me though, by the way.
Did
This
you
is
make the
my
cut?
VA who's known me. I've known my VA for
Okay.
like 25 years, so she knows me very well. So I
Oh,
trust her more than
yeah,
anyone to
see, I've
be
got
like,
to get onto that.
look, they do
I've got a
say do
meeting
not
with a
work with your
VA,
friends.
a potential VA this. Oh, it's a friend.
It's a friend, yeah, she's one of my best friends. But yeah, so she works for me.
Yeah.
She's amazing. It is there's
Oh, that's
needles in the
awesome.
haystack to find team like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
No, I
hard.
think it's yeah, it's super important. That's something that I'm looking into this week. I've got a meeting with a potential VA, so hopefully that works out and I can just catch a bit of my breath back.
Yes. Number one question I'd be asking VAs right now is about how they're using AI, because you want them to
Okay.
be using AI.
Yeah,
They'll
I'm
get
going to put that
more.
down. Yep, I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah, yeah. Like
more done.
I've
Yeah, for
got a
sure.
couple of team members, and now like one of the things we ask in every team meeting is, how are you using AI in your role right now? Like, what's a new way you're using it?
Oh,
Because I
awesome.
want them to.
Okay, all right.
Mm,
See, that's
mm,
good advice. Okay.
mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. No, but all right. I will let you go. I will wrap this up. I appreciate you, of course, I'm sure you know. And it's just been so good to talk to you and actually get to know you on a more like real level.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on here. It's been amazing to share all of this with everyone that is listening, and congratulations on your podcast. I'm excited for it to be out there in the world with all of your amazing initial guests.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited too. And of course, everyone can find your links and everything in the description of wherever this ends up. But yeah, thank you again and c'est la vie.
C'est la vie.
Thank you so much for being here. This was Without a Brief, a Red Bow House podcast. To explore the agency, apply to be a guest, or listen to more episodes, visit redbowhouse.com. Thank you so much for being here. This was Without a Brief, a Red Bow House podcast. To explore the agency, apply to be a guest, or listen to more episodes, visit redbowhouse.com.